My dear friend, let me take a rare moment to discuss the topic of this day in the early weeks of January 2023 to clarify and reassure you. I'm only stopping my videos about the specific intellectual property of one company. And with that, I always find it's better to show rather than tell. So, settle back, grab yourself a tasty beverage. We're about to get deeply nerdy. We all know there are a lot of different types of dragon, so it should come as no surprise that here is another one for you that you've probably never heard of, found primarily in the world of Golarion. It is not well known to the people there because these dragons prefer to keep a low profile and enjoy nothing more than being master manipulators and sadistic murderers of humanoid adventurers. They are not the most physically formidable dragons, but they are incredibly deadly in their behavior. The Dungeon Dragon is a rare dragon race that delights in building intricate underground dungeons and mazes to ensnare would-be delvers. A Dungeon Dragon is approximately 15 feet long, with a long serpentine neck, tiny atrophied wings, and glistening distinctly triangular scales of somewhat dull grey, but tipped in carefully applied melted gold and dustings of glittery emerald and turquoise. Two small horns like those of a mountain goat dominate its classically draconic wedge-shaped head, with its darkly sunken eyes that are rounded and usually a bright yellow colour. The Dungeon Dragon tends to rear back and stand on its hind legs when casting spells and using magic items, as they spend a lot of time collecting and studying the assorted treasures that hapless adventurers leave behind in the dragon's lair. The Dungeon Dragon is good at fighting in melee combat. Still, its claw and bite attacks are no worse than that of a crocodile, so it tends to rely on magic and weapons, preferably magic weapons, or spitting a lungful of warm mist in a 100-foot line or a 50-foot cone that confuses its victims considerably. In Golarion, they carry the names Dungeon Dragon and Draco Casa Dominus, which local sages assure me is a better way to refer to them. Regional names for them can be odd and contradictory, even wholly mistaken, which can lead to dragon-slaying adventurers walking into a deadly lair with a new type of dragon they have no preparation to fight and no forewarning of its true abilities. But I'm not sure the technical language is even gnomish. To be honest, I shall have to track down the planet that it came from, as indeed they must have a wealth of monsters that they have invented a whole language to catalogue them with, an idea I find quite appealing, given the task ahead of me now exploring the entire multiverse. In the world of Golarion, dragons have much less influence, being on the same level of power as the most mighty mortal wizards. However, few humanoid wizards are worshipped by other races. The dragons of Golarion, as on many different worlds, have long fostered their adulation among lesser species, as they have the limitless narcissism common to all of their kind, and fawning worshippers tend to steal less of their gold and provide an endless source of free labour, food gathering, lair maintenance and expansion, but most importantly, a very reliable early warning system should the dragon's lair be invaded while they are spending weeks or months in deep slumber. Perhaps the Dungeon Dragon's smaller size or some gross obsession with its lair security drives their malicious behaviour. Still, maybe they're just vicious, scheming little scumbags whose only real excuse is that they enjoy being needlessly sadistic. As soon as they are old enough and large enough to start intimidating what they refer to as minions, such as goblins, non-infernal imps, kobolds and such, they manipulate them into the construction of a dungeon. If not expanding directly on their cramped and dingy cave or ruin, then always quite close by, so they can keep careful tabs on everything going on in and around their cunningly designed death traps. They love dungeon design. They have particular avarice for new books on traps and weaponized architecture. Offering up a rare tome on dungeon design, the dragon may even be persuaded to let you live temporarily. But don't count on it. Dungeon dragons are very well known for their lies and inevitable betrayal, even to their detriment. As for the nature of these dungeons, well, they are highly diverse, ranging from clever imitations of other actual dungeons, except packed with additional traps, confined monsters and so forth. These dungeons are the origin of so many unbelievable tales of the most sinister and cruel traps that seem so outlandish and deadly that nobody in their right mind would ever construct such things. Rooms that move, false piles of buoyant metallic coins floating on top of pools of acid, precisely balanced walls, floors, and staircases that suddenly tip to crush, isolate, slide, and fall, slam into other surfaces, or reveal porcupine nests of wickedly sharp, pointed stakes waiting to impale more victims. Dungeon Dragons like to have their minions go out into the world, hunting down, securing, containing, and providing enough to keep the monsters relatively healthy, even though they are likely to go out of their right mind with the relentless boredom of their lives. By the time any adventurers show up, the intelligent monsters within the place will enthusiastically take out their pent-up frustrations on hapless adventurers, of course, usually given some unfair advantage by the master dungeon dragon, but sometimes hampered by that same dragon so as not to murder the adventurers too quickly and spoil all of its fun. Dungeon dragons require adventurers to come to them as ambush predators. They are known to litter clues, rumours, and bits of treasure maps, usually full of misleading details. If need be, they will kidnap victims to draw heroes to their doom. The classic tales of dragons capturing or demanding the periodic sacrifice of princesses and virtuous maidens can often be attributed to the Draco Casa Dominus. Don't expect them to come rushing in to murder the adventurers themselves. You are unlikely to encounter them as some end boss challenge because these dragons are not stupid. They know full well that their average party of experienced, well-equipped adventurers can very likely kill them in a straight-up fight, so they never let it come to that on purpose, unless they have become so outraged by the adventurers that their rage clouds their reason. But one should be careful with that tactic, as even then the dragon is just as likely to unleash every monster they have at their disposal at once, and may even cause the dungeon to self-destruct, collapsing in on itself and likely wiping out every living creature inside it, except the dragon, of course. The existence of such villainous draconic puppet masters explains a great deal about the possible origin of the dwarves' formidable skill at clever dungeon design, and likely has inspired more than a few eccentric wizards, isolationist liches, and so forth in their choice of lair. I think I might stick around Golarion for a little while and explore some more of its interesting ecologies and a bit of its history. My name is AJ Pickett. I create videos exploring the lore of almost all tabletop role-playing games. Thanks for listening, and as always, I will be back with more for you very soon.